I don't know if we are gonna upload that on YouTube or something. It's just to have a discussion, and
Yeah.
okay. So, what are difference between studying photo from Pinterest and master studies? Um, okay, I'm gonna try to list some good points. So maybe minus points is both are photos. So in a certain way, this is the same thing, because you're studying from photos. Maybe if you go to a museum, that's maybe more interesting because you're in front of the painting. But yeah, for the moment, this is only photos. Second is knowledge, but that's a good point. Knowledge. Then um, narrative composition. Then technique. Then light translation. How the painters translate their own vision of life. And this is, of course, the same way for values and volumes, you know. The good point of studying from photos, what could be the good points? You can find whatever you want, but I'm pretty sure you can have the same things in master studies because there is so many different paintings.
Students also think because master studies are usually uh, they have made their painting from life, and
Yeah,
like a photo from Pinterest is already something from life, and you're
mm,
just interpreting it in your own style.
yeah. So plus point is that there is no that there is two kind of photos. The one you should avoid definitely are the edited one.
Yeah.
Because if you're just looking at edited photo, just look at master paintings, of course. Because edited photos, they are edited in such a way that this is to make something kind of artsy. So to understand why did they use this filter or this filter, it is linked to master paintings, okay? Because the ancestor of photography is paintings. So just go study this instead of looking at edited photos. I think that's more interesting. But one of the plus point is that photos sometimes aren't edited, so you just have to interpret or translate. This is light translation. So yeah, I think that's I probably could do more, could list more things. But yeah, I think that number one is this one because by studying Kim Kardashian photos, you don't really understand a lot of things. You don't understand. You don't know. You don't learn something about it. History of art. So you don't have the knowledge. You don't have the narrative composition. You don't have the technique because we are paintings. So we are actually painting. So because this is a photo, there is no brush brush strokes. Um, So you don't have the knowledge, you don't have narrative comp, you don't have technique, you don't have all of that. Or maybe this one. So the main goal of photos is just to interpret the photos. That's it. And also another plus point is that you can have nice looking image for Instagram, because it's always good to remind that this is what we want at the beginning. When I started to do my daily studies, it was because of that, and this is a plus point when you begin, but at the end, this is the worst thing
Yeah.
to do. You know, um, because this is not the way you should make your daily studies. You should do that for everything that is listed right now, and there is certainly a lot of points that I forgot. But of course, sometimes we just want to have this thing, and I've got some friends who sometimes just told me, "Oh, my Instagram is kind of dead. I'm going to make the studies and just upload that on Instagram to have likes." And I'm like, that's going to be bad. And every time that is really bad. So, and we could also expand that to, so we've got the master studies. So Pinterest is like a photo study, okay? And we've got so the screen caps or screenshots, from video game and stuff. So video game, movie, and still life. Screenshot, it is kind of the same thing. We're gonna erase this one because it's gonna be in each category. So the only good point of photo is interpretation. That's the only plus point. Screenshots from movie, you've got also the knowledge, because you're actually looking at a movie that you probably don't know. So that's good to study, different images from the same movie. So you've got the knowledge, you've got narrative composition, yeah, this is kind of the same thing between master studies and screenshot movies. This is kind of the same way. Yeah, I think it's probably the same, but I have the feeling that master paintings are probably less good looking, because when I see or when I made by the past screenshots movie, sometimes it's just to have um, once again this nice composition, and because it is part of the movie, people generally know the movies. Like for example, my Blade Runner studies.
Yeah.
People know the movie, so there is kind of connection, between the people and you, because you're kind of interpreting some things that they saw by the past. Um, so they are more engaged with you, and because they are more engaged, you're kind of thinking about this point, in my opinion. And so you're more focused on doing something maybe more less maybe more nice looking than you were doing master studies, because
Um,
people. Yep.
it will all depend on your goal, right? What you want to get out of your study. Um,
Yeah,
and
sure.
in the yeah, and for me in the beginning it was more. I saw a lot of UNG on Instagram
Mm.
and your style as well. And it really inspired me to do these daily studies in the first place. Um, so I'm actually just trying to mimic you guys, what you guys are doing. And for me, when I see a painting that doesn't resemble the style, I have to interpret it in my own way. That's where I get stuck.
Yeah, but before doing, like, I didn't want it to 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 do the Devin Corbin style or Craig Mullen style. I just wanted to study things. And if we look at the first studies that I made, uh, this is not as Devin Corin or Craig Mullins. At the beginning, it was like sometimes Mielgo, sometimes Ryan Lang, um, and sometimes just bad. Um, and like, for example, this one is probably one of my worst. This is so bad. Um, and I tried to count for the first. I think that was for the first 30 studies. There were, I mean, I guess 25 of the 30 ones are from Pinterest. And so I didn't learn a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure that if I go to the 100 one, um, that is mostly from Pinterest.
And when
And
you review your most recent work, what are the things that what are the stuff that you've learned from your most recent work?
okay, so
So the Spider-Man ones, for example.
the Spider-Man ones, that was kind of for fun because I started 1 month ago to study to go from master paintings,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to have kind of a fun time, and making spider because I didn't really uh, watched Spider-Man 2 the way I should have watched it, because the lighting and the color in Spider-Man 2 is actually super impressive. I really okay, not this part because this is a lot of CGI, and there is this kind of colors that I don't like. It is kind of strange because I always use this kind of color in my own work, but I don't know. There is kind of brownish color that I don't really like in this scene, but in the other scenes, I really like the movie. This scene at the beginning is really cool in terms of lighting. Um,
And what about the studies from actual paintings? Uh,
the master paintings,
yes, it was, let's say, number 433.
yeah,
Yes, that one.
that was kind of the problem because this one is part of a pack of it is in photo bash, I guess. Master paintings? No? Okay, where's that? Florian Petit. Yeah, okay, that's it. So this is in this pack from Florian Petit that Morose uploaded on his uh, Discord. And so you can download that for free. This is a pack with 1,000 paintings,
It's
1,600
actually
paintings.
always helped them.
Yeah. And
Totally
so
agree.
Um, I downloaded this pack and I tried to study some of the painters, but this is kind of the problem. This is actually Pinterest, okay?
Okay.
Because you just scroll until you find something that you like, and you just sometimes you just okay, I like this one, I'm gonna study these, and then you just close, but you don't really remember the name of the painters, so it is like a photo study from Pinterest because you miss one of the huge point of master paintings, which is knowledge. S- and it is also the reason why I'm making like 1 week of Velasquez, 1 week of actually I'm gonna make Repin, Ilya Repin. This is why I'm doing that because I want to remember painters. This is also why I wrote down, when I post on Instagram, I made study blah blah blah, and then Velasquez, woman cooking. Um, what is the title again? An old woman cooking eggs.
Yeah.
And I don't write it down for you because I know that people don't doesn't care about the title of the painting of or even the master that did that because when I post master paintings without writing down, people don't ask me who did that because people don't care. So the reason why I'm writing that down, it is for me. Because when you write something, you're gonna remember more than if you didn't. So that is the reason why I do that. So, oh yeah, and one of the bad points from photos, it is the scroll. Because you're gonna scroll until you find something that you like. So that's gonna take a lot of times. Um, you could do that also with master studies, but if you're just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna make 1 week of Velasquez, then you don't have a lot of choice. There is no, for example, if you go to the Google art of Velasquez, um, there is no a lot of different paintings, so you don't really need to scroll. Just take something that you like, for example, this one, and then try to study it and to understand.
So
And
what was his name again?
oh, this is Diogo Velasquez. We,
Diego Velázquez. Okay.
yeah, this is one of the huge
I've been
painter.
hearing a lot about those singers, uh, how amazing his work is. I actually like his work though and the way he paints, but it's hard to replicate that into the digital program.
Hmm.
I think uh, that's
But
really the only. I think I really like his work.
yeah, of course, this is kind of complicated, but I don't really try to replicate the technique because honestly, I don't really care about that. Um, this
So what do
is
you focus on? What's going in your head when you're painting? What do you need to get the knowledge out of a reference?
what. Okay, so first, it is the question: why am I doing daily studies? This is the huge question. Why am I doing that? Why every day from 8 to 9 I'm making daily studies? Um, I still don't really know exactly why I'm doing that, but I kind of understood some points. And that came at the probably number 3 300, I guess. It is kind of, maybe that was after the EV Paint challenge. Um, I kind of understood some points about why am I doing this, and this is for this kind of point. And because I'm doing photo bash all the time for my work, I kind of like to have this morning moment when I'm just making paintings, because that is kind of fun, um, and stressless, probably. But one of the huge point is, yeah, knowledge, having fun, um, and explore things. Being chaotic, trying new brushes, um, testing kind of a lot of textures. You can go as far as you want in daily studies. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Um, and if you think that, okay, take I'm gonna have a lot of fun by studying Kim Kardashian's ass, okay, why not? Why not? Um, I understand. I can understand why you do that, but I don't think that's gonna help you in the long term. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I forgot the huge point of why am I doing daily studies. One of the huge point is discipline. Why? Okay. Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay. I think you should avoid to do the nipples,
Yeah.
because you did that in your last study, and I saw that there were. This is a tiny detail that's not really interesting. Um,
Well, it was from her like clothing line that she has,
mhm.
clothing brand, and for this campaign, she introduced uh, women's drum for with those things on it, and I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Okay. But you know,
But I will remove it for this one. Okay, yeah, I will.
we were discussed about knowledge, and I think by studying these, of course, there is interesting things in terms of values in this one. Um, I'm not saying that every photos are bad to studies. Of course not. That's good to sometimes go to photos, sometimes go to master paintings, sometimes to,
But I shouldn't really be focused on this all the time.
yeah. And I think you do too much photos, and not a lot of master paintings or even still life. I didn't saw still life from you for the moment.
That's correct.
So yeah, it is really good to do some of them. So yeah, in terms of studies, that is kind of interesting. In terms of values, I think, but before doing that, you can have probably these kind of same values in some of the master paintings.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the first point I'm doing daily studies, it is for discipline, and it is for long term point of view, because I was working on my portfolio, and I'm still working on. Um, I was, and I'm still alone from since more than a year now. And because I wanted to improve myself, I needed to be disciplined. And because I wanted to improve myself for more than a year, you have to think about long term point of view. Because if you just work with motivation, you're not gonna work a lot of times. I've got some friends who work with motivation, and I see that there is
Yes, there
uh,
will
a,
always be moments where you're like motivated to train. Um, and I will say these daily studies that I've been joining with you, I've been training a lot more than I have in the past. I will say there isn't really room left in my schedule to design stuff
mhm.
and really be like do a character design, a vehicle, whatever. So like that's something I do miss in my artistic life right now. But uh, having the knowledge on how to make a painting, how to work with values and use and stuff is nice. It's it's definitely it's way better.
Yeah, it will probably depend um, of people, right? Like always. But um, personally, I'm really used to think that discipline and long-term point of view is better than motivation, because motivation is based on pulsions, and motivation is a pulsion. You've got the motivation to create something, it is a pulsion. But the problem with that, it is that pulsion, you can't really control pulsions. You don't have the power on your pulsions, but you've got the power on discipline, because um, yeah, discipline is something that you create and pulsion is not. So I don't want to. It is. I don't know a lot of things about that, but this is kind of the stoicism aspect, which is you don't want to be to depend on something that doesn't depend of you. For example, the weather. If you always wait the sun to be happy, then your life is going to be terrible because you're gonna depend on something that doesn't depend of you. And every day where it's raining, you're gonna be sad, and that is kind of this is bad, because you actually depend on something that doesn't depend of you. And I want to control all of that. I don't want to be happy when there is only sun. I want to be happy every time. I want to control that. And if I wait for the sun to be motivated enough to work, then I'm just going to work half of the year. So I don't want all of that. I want to work every day. I want to be disciplined. That's the same way for sport. If you want to progress on your field, you have to be disciplined. If you want to lose weight, you have to be disciplined, because you're not gonna lose a lot of weight, you're not gonna progress a lot. For example, in calisthenics, that is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you have to be disciplined. You have to be stronger than yesterday. To complete properly your exercise. So it is all about discipline. And even sometimes when you don't want to go to sport or gym or whatever you're doing, you still go to, because you're thinking about long term. You're thinking about, okay, maybe I'm not really happy to do that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be thankful for me tomorrow, because okay, you didn't want it to make sport, but you actually completed it. So you're going to be kind of proud of you, and that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to
I
be proud of you.
I think I definitely apply that mindset when it comes to exercise and other life in general. If I like
Yeah.
I have to be better than myself than I was yesterday, and I also have to, I guess, do things today so I won't be disappointed in myself tomorrow.
Mm.
Um, but some reason, I guess, with painting and art in general, it's more complex than just, oh, I'm just gonna do some push-ups and I'm done. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's much more stuff going on when you're making a painting.
Yeah, I agree, and it is probably due to the skills that is required for that, because this is probably harder, not probably harder, but um, how can I say that? Mm, that is so long to learn. For example, if you want to draw, this is um, kind of strange as a word, because what is learn to draw? What are we talking about? What is drawing? How can you say I know how to draw? No. But okay, this is kind of complicated to paint and discuss at the same time. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of engagement to improve yourself in drawing. And of course, in musculation too. At a certain point, when you want to be Mr. Olympia, you need a fucking life. You need to work a lot, and this is probably as hard as painting. I don't know if there is something, a field that is. This is probably for most of the fields. If you want to be kind of the best in the world, you need to work. This is, in Whiplash, you want to be the best drummer of all time, and he works so fucking hard. And that's probably the same thing in art. And to see improvement, man, you need to do that every day for I don't know how many years. And that's kind of frustrating because you don't see the result right now. You don't see the result for the moment. You have to wait. You have to do that every day. And that's kind of art, that stuff, but that's how it is.
I just continue.
Oh, I don't hear you very well.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've seen a lot of other painters that work, and I feel like that has inspired me way more than random pieces on the internet.
Yep.
I'll share them with you. Uh, I put them on Instagram. Um, I want to paint in this style, or just I want to create images the way they did it, but I know they did it from life, I guess. But they already dissected it uh, and repainted it in their own vision. Uh, but here, when I look at these images, it's more about the brushstrokes and the thought process behind it, and I think that's really important. It's not really, um, oh, what is a good reference or what not, but more like how can I translate it into my own style in a way, or how can I repaint this? That's what I'm really stuck at, and I'm just trying new things out with textures as you're doing. So not really on that level because that's I will get lost at this point.
Mm.
But yeah,
But yeah, this is probably when you're looking at Devin Cohen's work when you're young, when you begin your art journey, you just you're just looking and you're just saying, "Oh wow, that's really nice looking. I want to do the same thing." And this is probably the worst way to look at Devin's work, probably, because if you want to do kind of the same thing from him, you have to follow his advices, right?
yeah.
And Devin Collins probably did not study 200 photos from Pinterest. Of course not.
Is it just like understanding the basic principles for in art painting in general?
Yeah, and okay, so this is something that I've learned from Thank Zhu, the concept artist on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, he was looking at Spike, a spaceship from Cowboy Bebop. And by the way, I was actually looking at a Cowboy Bebop when you when you write down to me. So um, it was talking. Okay, so we are gonna make a new design for Cowboy Bebop spaceship. Let's do that together. And first, you have to gather references, but not Pinterest references. We're gonna understand what was the references of the designer of the spaceship. And so he said, okay, so the designer was born in the 60s, so it was young at the 70s. Um, what were his inspirations at this time in the 70s in Japan? Probably this. We're gonna look at each thing and understand how does that work, and that's how he interpret his own version with the same references for Spike spaceship, and he did a really good redesign of it. And that is kind of the same thing if you want to look at, for example, Craig Mullins' work, because Devin Cohen is really inspired by Craig Mullins. Then you're gonna look at Craig Mullins, and you're gonna say, okay, so how Craig Mullins worked. He doesn't have internet when he was young, so he probably did not go to Pinterest to study stuff because that doesn't exist at this period of time. So he just looked at master paintings. And recently, I saw a tweet from Craig Mullins who just said, um, just study fine art painters, not Pinterest photos. So even um, if the master and the creator of actual concept art is saying that, that is probably for a good reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it. And if you want to do Kim K today, if you want to do
No, I'm not.
you can,
Yeah, I can, but
but you have to understand why you're doing that. And this is probably better for you if you study something else. Probably fine art paintings, probably still life. You know, you you can draw your cup of coffee, and that's always interesting. I don't know how many, probably dozens of my Dragon Ball Z cup of coffee, but and that's always cool to do that because you improve your composition skills, your volume skills, lighting skills, and so on. So yeah, that is probably better for yourself than looking at Kim K. You know, but you can do that if you want. But um, if if you want to be good or better than Craig Mullins, ask yourself:
yeah,
will Craig Mullins study Kim Kardashian?
I don't think so.
I don't think so too. But the question is, if Craig Mullins were studying a photo of Kim K, why will how will it? Okay, I don't know how to formulate that. The question will be how he would approach that, how he would
Yes,
think. Why would he study a photo of Kim Kardashian.
Interesting question. Hmm.
So when you're making your study, you that's probably a good question, to ask yourself. If I want to be good as da da da, why he would do this study? Why not another one?
Well, at best, I think I'm just gonna retrain my speaker.
Hmm. You can, man. That's cool. But um, try to find some fun in that. Okay, try to enjoy yourself, to learn things, to explore things. Um, it is not. We don't necessarily need to do that as like homework. You know.
Hmm.
Um,
And what about going out and taking pictures yourself from outside? Because obviously I cannot go out with my laptop and just sit
yeah,
somewhere.
me
You
too.
know,
Yeah.
how about just going out and making pictures? Because of course, in the past, that's what the painters did, but they had their easel outside and just
Yeah.
did
So you
everything.
should do same thing as painters, and just take your
That,
wood things
that,
and paint outside. Because photos, this is a comfort zone.
yeah,
So you just need to avoid that. Um, and the photo is still a photo. Like we've got exactly the same problem. That doesn't change a thing. Okay, there is no scroll point. Or maybe yes, because you're gonna take, for example, dozens of photo of the same trees, and at the end you're gonna have 100 of it, and you're gonna just okay, what is the best looking image, to study? So yeah, photo is that's cool, but you should probably do that. This is probably the worst thing to start with. As I showed you, my studies when I started, it was only photos, and that was not good. I didn't learn a lot of things, and yeah, that was really bad. And then we could have a talk after about art brush and stuff like that, because I remember Lea Pinto sent me a message when I was starting my studies. That was at the number 11, if I remember well. Okay, this is not 11, but it was this one. And yeah, this is really bad. There is no interest of that in this. This is a 2 IQ study,
wow.
and she told me, okay, she wanted to be polite, so she told me, okay, that's cool, but you should only use art brush. Um, I've kind of tried the day afters, but I think I stopped. Yeah, it was in this time I stopped to use art brush, and then I went back to it. Um, I don't know if you should use art brush or not. Of course, it helps you to take decisions, but um,
Well, I've only been using it at least for the past uh, 4 months, 5 months.
mhm,
But I usually only draw with a hard one because like I do everything with her. So it's
yeah.
my go-to tool.
But this is always the same thing. I don't know if there is only one way
No,
to
not
do
yet.
things. There is probably things to avoid. Of course, like as I told you, uh, studies from photos. Mm, Probably, I don't know. Oh, okay. I was actually I wanted to say, oh, okay, for example, Nunez is actually making
Yeah, social photos, right?
yeah, from
Right.
photos. But if you go back at the beginning of his work, that was only fine art. Uh, have you already actually watched his Instagram at the bottom?
Yes, I have. Like, I've been following it for years.
Hmm. And for the moment, this is this kind of stuff. And you're gonna say,
Yeah.
okay, this is just interpretation of photos. And you are right. But at the beginning, okay, maybe you are gonna. Okay. Oh no, he removed it. Okay, so maybe that's on ArtStation. Please. Okay,
Oh
yeah.
shit.
There we go. So his first work, that was only fucking master paintings, you know?
Yeah.
And it all started with that. Look at this shit. Look at this.
Yeah.
Because he mastered this thing, he went to this. It didn't start with only that. So maybe there is something that there is someone that just started with that, and that's cool. But people, and I'm pretty sure that people um, who follow Raman and want to do the same thing as him, I'm pretty sure that they always forgot that.
Yes, I've never saw this work of him.
That's obvious. So yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
and for example, Lea Pinto, she were talking about. Okay, so when I go back to this painting, that's really bad. But Lea Pinto was talking about is that was in a question and answer in Instagram. She was talking about is her inspirations and her master paintings like Claude Monet um, and people like that. She didn't told a lot of things. I was kind of sad to don't know what are his her other inspirations. But yeah, she was talking a bit about Claude Monet, so that's cool. And then you're gonna look at Claude Monet and Lea Pinto's work, and you're gonna say, okay, there is kind of common points, in the color she's using, in the saturation of the shadows and stuff like that. So yeah, all of this to conclude that studying Kim Kardashian today isn't
It's not.
probably the best thing for you, but if you do that, just ask yourself how will Papa PNG uh, would approach that? How Craig Mullins or Devin Colwyn will approach that?